made this day possible. Thank you to my parents, Mr. and Mrs. DeJulian, for this wonderful reception. And thank you all for coming to support Patrick and Melissa. I'm Kevin, this is my brother Sean. We're Pat's younger brothers, and we're also his co-best men.
Yeah, and believe it or not, we were not the first choice. Bruce Springsteen just didn't return his calls.
That's right, he's on tour.
And he also doesn't know him at all.
Also true.
So how do you want to shoot for a second?
Yeah.
Okay. 26 years I've been going rock, it's not been working out. I just want to let Melissa know. Melissa was a little nervous that I had a little bit too much to drink because of my nerves beforehand. So I just want to let you know, Melissa, I only had one drink, which is out of a really big glass. And it was filled with Orange Crush. It's going to be big night, big night. Those are the words of one of the club promoters in Iceland, but also rings true for this night. It's a night I'm sure we all expected Pat to experience first in my family. Why? Because since the beginning of time, there's been a hierarchy within siblings. I'm the younger brother, and it's been my lot in life that I've become to begrudgingly accept. I've been forever doomed to sitting in the middle of the seat, getting the cot at the hotel, I got it last night, being everyone's punching bag and coming in last in pretty much everything. Kevin was the middle brother, the challenger to the throne, and the one who was always in competition with Pat. Aaron was the wild card. Pat, though, he was the pioneer. Not a pioneer in the vein of Lewis and Clark, but a pioneer more akin to Chris Farley in Almost Heroes. He stumbled his way through most of life's obstacles, sometimes literally, picked himself up after it was all done, fixed his hair, of course, brushed off his printed pants, and went head first into the next challenge. Pat wouldn't be Pat either if after each challenge, he didn't make sure to up the difficulty too. Thanks to Pat, by the time I got to high school, every trick in the book used by kids to fool their parents had already been used up. By the time I got to CBA, everyone thought the Boltanowskis were terrible at soccer. And finally, when he decided to get married, he proposed to Melissa in front of the Eiffel Tower and went to Iceland for his bachelor party. Thanks, Pat. Thanks a lot. But despite his propensity to up-level each stage of my life, I looked up to this guy. Pat was the oldest brother. He set the tone. It wasn't always the right tone, but he set the tone nonetheless. And I have to respect it, because I'm sure he didn't always like being the first one out of the trenches. There were a lot of things he had to learn on his own, and he had to make a lot of mistakes before he got there. And it was because of him that I went through life without making a single mistake to become the perfect human you see here today. But seriously though, without Pat, I would have never learned the following things. First, when you get to a bar, it is customary to remove your shirt within the first hour of arriving. This is the shirt ensure everyone sees your muscles. Second, every few years you have to change your hairstyle. The middle part, the front flip, the Irish soccer hooligan from when he was in Dublin, and now the Christian Bale. I really hope that he doesn't have to experience balding. Third, that music didn't exist before Bruce Springsteen, and it will cease to exist after he dies. Thank God he's immortal. Fourth, taking a knee is the only acceptable way to finish your drink. 5, the only way to enjoy a Clarence solo is by standing on a chair. 6, if you can't quote Seinfeld on command, you haven't spent enough time watching TBS from 7 to 8 p.m. These pretzels are making me thirsty. And lastly, that when you find the right girl, you don't let her get away. No matter how many mistakes Pat's made in his life, he was always a fast learner. And when he first brought Melissa around the family, you could immediately see that this was something special. There was a sense when I looked at Pat during those first few times he brought Melissa around that he really wanted Melissa to gel with his family because he saw her future potential. In fact, he was so comfortable with Melissa On one of her first dates, he showed her the movie American Psycho. Think about that for a second. For those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's about a vain, wealthy Wall Street type guy with great hair, great style, and in great shape, who gets bored with his life and becomes a serial killer. That is Pat's favorite movie. How she did not run then and there is beyond me, but here she sits, and I know Pat is so glad she didn't run. And since that first date, Pat and Melissa's relationship has flourished, and it's been a privilege to watch and enjoy with them. As their relationship has grown, I felt like Pat has changed. Melissa has brought out the best in him, while also helping soften some of his intensity. But it wasn't just Pat's changes that I've noticed, but also Melissa's friendship with all of us. Although I was fine with one sister, sometimes I couldn't even imagine dealing with two growing up. Just kidding here. It's been amazing how quickly I've come to view Melissa as part of the family and as a friend. Whether it was getting advice from girls' perspective, or even being somehow the only one in my now extended family who knows how to Snapchat, it's been a pleasure gaining a new lifelong friend. So now I'm going to pass it over to my brother, another lifelong friend.
Thank you, Sean. It is a real honor to be one of Pat's best men. I always looked up to Pat big time. So much so that it's tough to find some other embarrassing things from growing up to talk about, because I know I copied so much of it. I mean, I gave Guff for all his super preppy clothes over the years, but I mean, I wore them all as hand-me-downs. Copied his music taste, which for even kind of going into college was not Springsteen. It was pretty heavy gangster rap, if you can believe it, which we'd blast together in the mean streets of Oceanport, New Jersey. A few more years, we might have like a Tupac cover band tonight. So I'm glad Pat finally found Bruce. But even I give him Guffer's hairstyles, but the truth is I've tried pretty much all of them myself to see if they'd work with me. Even Pat's current hairstyle, if you want to give it a shot, good one to try when you're getting out of the shower. You need a lot of water. But I think it's pretty amazing how Pat and Melissa came to be. Pat came to know about Melissa on the Facebook social media site through a mutual friend, Angela. Shout out to Angela if she's here. Shout out to Angela. And then Pat Facebook stalked Melissa for about 4 or 5 years before she ever knew who he was. And for those of you who don't understand the term, Facebook stalking is when you follow a girl, follow her pictures, who her friends are, what she says to her friends, what she likes, where she goes on vacation. And you do this for years without her ever knowing. But it's from a computer, so it's okay. But I mean, Pat would throw out messages every so often, and he'd throw them out there, and he'd say something to Angela. I think I even have one of them while we're reading. Like, here's an example. He would say, if you hang out, this is 3 years before Melissa even knew who he was. If you hang out with Melissa D over break, let me know, because I'll get in my car right away. Ha 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 ha, see ya. He'd throw out little Hail Marys, you know? And Melissa, she didn't see this message. But there was something about Melissa for Pat that kept him trying and checking in for years and years. And then he got that first date, and I remember how amped up he was when he got that first date. And here we are, and it's amazing. It's amazing. And frankly, it gives hope to the rest of us guys on Facebook looking for love. But, I mean, I was talking with my mom about love, and I need pointers. And my mom said, love is someone who appreciates you, compliments you, and allows you to grow, challenges you to grow. And and I've seen Pat and Melissa appreciate each other. I've seen, Pat will always talk about how Melissa's always smiling, and even if he's had a bad day, she can turn it around just like that. And I know Melissa appreciates even little things about Pat, about it, how, she appreciates Pat's homemade steak dinners, even though she knows that's all he knows how to make. And they compliment each other. I mean, they own the room. Pat he's kind of rush ahead. Melissa's can sit back a little bit sometimes and plan it out. She's good at planning it out. And a little country and rock and roll. And I've seen them, they know how to motivate each other and support each other and comfort each other as the best friends they've come to be. And they challenge each other to grow. And I've really come to enjoy Melissa becoming a part of this family. I mean, Melissa just, off the top, she just adds to the fun of what being in this family has been. She's our family board game coordinator. She's brought the DeJulian board game traditions. And just like, we were just taking pictures earlier today, and some guy came over with a snake. I don't know if you heard the story. Some guy came over with a snake, some crazy guy, and he said, I want to put my snake in your wedding photos. And Melissa goes, yeah, a giant boa constrictor. Pat wants no part of it. Melissa goes, yeah, I'll take the snake. Wait till you see these pictures, they're unbelievable. She just adds to the fun, and seeing her with Pat, she's just kind and caring and loving and patient and funny and smart and thoughtful. And she took time with all of us in the family, which is where she's really felt like a great part of this family for a while now. And I'm just so happy it's official. And they have each other to grow with for the rest of their lives. And with that, I'd like to bring up Aaron for a second. So we'd like to do something Pat taught us before, and take a knee here. And if you could all raise your glasses. And we'd like to finish with two words that we consider Pat's phrase whenever he gets amped up for something. As Pat and Melissa get ready for this next chapter of their life. Let's go.